everybody, it's Sunday and I am eventually back again. If you've missed me, Facebook in its infinite wisdom decided that I was a great big news source in Australia and blocked my page. So it took me heaps of complaining and sending rude messages every day until they eventually restored it. So I'm back, I'm happy to be back, and I've got a really exciting card to share with you today. So here we go. This is the card. I'm combining old and new together. So we're going to use the Oso Ombre DSP, which is part of the celebration. But today is the last day for celebration. So if you haven't got it, make sure that you get your order in today or you're not going to be able to get it. And then I'm using the Butterfly Brilliance, which is the new pre-order that will be coming in the annual catalogue. And the stamps that I'm using the Happy Birthday from the Sweet Ice Cream. And of course, the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set. And I'm using the Butterfly Brilliant dies, or no, they're called Brilliant Wings dies. So what I've done is I've cut out so it's the three smallest size butterflies, and we've popped those onto the card. So we're going to get to those. So let's start making the card. What I've done with my DSP is I didn't want it really dark or really light, so I've cut 2.5 centimeters off the one side. I've then cut it down to 10 centimeters, cutting it off the other side, and then cut off to 14.4 centimeters so that I've got the piece for my front. And I've got the piece that I cut off, the dark side, I've cut that down to 10 centimeters. So that was the 2.5 centimeters cut down to 10 centimeters, which I'm going to use for my sentiment. So let's do the stamping first, and then I'll do the heat embossing. So I've told you before that with the stamp set you can actually stamp it and then cut out the butterflies, but we're going to use that as the background stamp for those butterflies. So big stamp, so it's easier if we're upside down. So let me ink it up with my Versamark. And it doesn't matter which way you stamp it. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I prefer the dark on the left. So I don't want to get butterflies on that one just yet. So remember, this is a big stamp. So big stamp means big pressure. So sort of press down really well and get even pressure across the stamp. And then I'm going to throw some of my white embossing powder over, just being careful when I touch it that I'm not actually touching the ink. I'm getting my fingers between the butterflies. We need a bit more over there. And flick off the excess. That looks good. And then before I emboss that, I'm going to stamp the greeting as well so that we do all the heat embossing together. Again, my happy birthday. Ink it up. Now I'm stamping this over to the left so that I've got space for my little butterfly to sit on the side. And I don't usually use retired things, but this is the embossing tray from a few years ago, and it just works so well because it can collect all your embossing powder in there and then just pour it back into the bottle. Otherwise, a sheet of paper folded in half will also do the trick. And let's pull out my heat gun and get these embossed. So a little bit of noise, and no, I'm not singing while we make the noise because then nobody will ever want to watch this again. I love heat embossing. I think it's such an easy technique and it just gives such wow to your cards. But my favorite thing is watching that embossing powder melt when it goes from that sort of dull to the shiny, melted, beautiful embossing. So there's our embossed pieces. And then we're going to take my normal half A4 sheet of card and I'm going to stick my butterflies on. Go. And then my greeting. So the little piece that I cut off here, it works better if you're using sort of both sides, making try that again, making cards using both sides of the paper, because then you're actually being fairly economical, where the strip that I've cut off I've used for my happy birthday, and the little bit that came off the end here that was too long I've used to cut out my little butterfly that's going to go on the top here. So you can see here the dark side of the Coastal Cabana is on the opposite of the light size of the Rococo Rose. So you want to just put a little bit of blue in, because this is so narrow, just be careful with the tombow. You don't want to be too heavy-handed. I don't mind that the butterfly wings are going to be floating a little bit. We just want to make sure that it's glued down on the body. And then I took scraps of the dotty Oso Ombre paper and I've cut out the next two size butterflies in those scraps. So I'm going to take that one and stick it into the inside. Oops, I think I want a little bit more glue on that side. There we go. And my last butterfly, which I've done one already, so that one will just get stuck, is going to get stuck onto the envelope. So we've got our envelope which matches our card and the inside matches, so I'm happy. Right, and of course, because I can't help myself, I had to try it in all four colors. So I think that those have all come up really nicely. This paper is really pretty. And I'll show you one more card which I hope is going to show up on camera because this one was actually a mistake. But when I did the heat embossing, there we go, you can actually see that, I threw the clear embossing powder over instead of the white. But I needed a sympathy card, so I thought that maybe the clear butterflies would just be soft and I guess subtle for a sympathy card. And the greeting that I used here is from another celebration one. It's the heal your heart, sorry for your loss. And I've stuck my butterfly on the inside as well. So those are those cards. Remember, celebration ends today, so if you want this paper, make sure to get your order in. And Butterfly Brilliance available from the 3rd of March. So I hope you like these cards. Let me know which one is your favorite color. And I will see you again next week. Hopefully Facebook is not going to be so stupid as to kick me off again. Have a good week. Bye.